Hey guys, my name is Moon and welcome back for more Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 2, Watanagashi. So last time, a lot of questions, a lot of questions for Keiichi, right? Did you see Shion? Did you see Tomitake? Did you see Takano? And yeah, people are getting killed now, disappearing, right? Takano, she got burned. Tomitake, pretty much the same as what happened to him in the first chapter. Kimiyoshi, the mayor, missing now. So Keiichi is also kind of being extremely paranoid, right? As well, because Shion was like, "Oh, us four, Takano, Tomitake, me and you, we went to the storehouse, right? And both of them are gone now, so maybe it's gonna be us." Right? And then Keiichi was blaming Shion over the phone and then she hang up. So let's see what happens today, right? We are in chapter 9 of this chapter. Okay, let's continue. There was no way I'd be able to sleep. When she hung up the phone like that, I realized for the first time what kind of situation I was in, as well as who the only ally who would support me was. I waited with bated breath for Shion to calm down and call me back. What would I do if the phone rang while I was sound asleep? No matter how long I waited, however, it never rang. Exhausted whenever my mind started to wander, I would jolt awake as though I heard the phone ring. In the end, I brought the cordless phone with me in my futon and went to sleep with it in my arms. Though it still didn't amount to anything. Morning came and by the time, I was pretty sure she wasn't calling back. That was when a fierce drowsiness assailed me.
くそ寝ぼけてる場合じゃないぞ前原圭一
I slapped myself in the face a few times. Then I went to the washroom and washed my face, which was something I usually didn't do. That wasn't enough either, so I even brushed my teeth. After that, I finally was wide awake. When Mom saw how strange I was acting, her eyes went wide.
どうしたの圭一今日はどこかにお出かけでもするの
うん学校に
Okay, we're here. The hell was that?
圭一くん、なんだか今日も調子悪そう。やっぱり風邪かな。
But yeah, I like how Rena, like how crazy she was on the first chapter. But in this one, yeah, pretty much she's just normal Rena, cute mode Rena, right?
風邪じゃなくて寝不足なんだ寝ぼけてわけのわかんないことを言い出したらフォローよろしくな
圭一くん、寝ぼけたらどんなこと喋り出すのかなちょっと楽しみかも。はう。
I felt utterly shattered and still hadn't picked myself back up this morning, and for precisely that reason, Rena's honest smile was a sight for sore eyes.
よ、
Mion is here already.
ケイちゃんにレナおはよ
あれれみーちゃんもなんだか寝不足な感じだよ。
Mion had gone home early yesterday with a hangover, but she didn't look too good this morning either. Her usual cheerfulness was completely buried in shadow.
うん寝たの3時ぐらいだからね眠い
3時昨日に続いてか
What do you mean 3? What? Okay. Oh, okay.
おい
okay,
おい
understood.
夜更かしにも限度ってもんがあるぞ大方漫画の単行本が面白くなっちゃって一巻から読破してしまったんだろうん俺にも経験があるぞ
I joked, trying to shake off my sleepiness. I was trying to be considerate. However, neither Mion nor Rena smiled. In fact, they didn't pay attention. Rena's expression immediately darkened.
あれ ひょっとして村長さんのこと？
What, did they find him?
まだ見つかってないの？
うん。
おい、ちょっと待ってくれ。村長さんが見つかってないって何の話だ？
Even the classroom, which was normally bursting with bright, joking voices, seemed filled with a different sort of murmur today.
おはようございます、ケイチさん。聞きました？なんだか大変なことになりましたわね。
俺はその村長さんって人をよく知らないんだが、ジジイなんだろ？ボケて徘徊してるだけじゃないのか？
村長さんはボケてなんかいませんですわ。お習字も教えるし、剣道も教える、はつらつな方でございますの。僕と同じで、きっとどこかで迷子なのですよ。
Oh, sorry.
迷子いいね。
I was fixing my mouse.
はう、お持ち帰り。
Getting lost ain't only cute because children like Rika-chan do it. A worn-out old man getting lost isn't a moe in the slightest. While my mind entertained dumb thoughts like that, our teacher arrived. Everyone rushed to their seats.
皆さん、
Chie. I wish that she'll have a bigger role in the next chapters, right?
おはようございます。
Like I would like to see her go crazy or something like that. Good morning. The class greeting was normal, but the atmosphere in the room was heavy.
すでに聞いている方もいるかもしれませんが、昨日の夜、村長さんが夜遅くになってもお家に帰ってこなかったのだそうです。皆さんの中で昨日村長さんを見た人はいますか？
One or two hands went up in silence, and they told her about having seen him. None of it seemed to be vital information, however, and everyone began whispering amongst themselves.
もしも村長さんを見かけた人は大人の人に教えてあげてくださいね。それでは授業を始めます。
Okay, let us begin class as usual. After that, the same old lessons began. The rumors once quieted blossom in flowers again at lunchtime. I could hear a few different discussions or conversations. They were mostly related to the mayor's disappearance. Summing them all up, I came out with this. Yesterday evening, the mayor went to a meeting at the shrine's assembly hall. The meeting ended after the sun had fully set and everyone left. The elder's house was a bit far from the center of Hinamizawa. It was already late and Hinamizawa doesn't have a lot of lights outside. Nobody saw the mayor after the meeting. However, he would have been hungry. He wouldn't have taken any side trips. He would have gone straight home. However, no matter how long his family waited, he never returned. Some thought there might have been an accident. They left no stone unturned. They searched from the irrigation channels to the water wells and even in the rice paddles, but they didn't find him. Of course, there was a limit to how far they could search in the middle of the night. The police were going to wait for daylight, then have the young men of the town help search. If after all that they still didn't find him, they were apparently even going to go look in the mountains. Even now, at this moment, the adults were probably all searching for him. The more they searched in vain, and the more time passed, the only thing that came in mind was the curse. The rumors of Onikakushi of the demoning away. Had they become this year's sacrifice of Oyashiro-sama's curse, which had recently been occurring every year? That scary possibility which everybody thought about but nobody could say aloud was slowly but surely spreading throughout the village. Oh, sorry, I accidentally clicked it. Was he demoned away and offered as a sacrifice to quell Oyashiro-sama's anger? My classmates were whispering to each other that the curse didn't happen this year, so there shouldn't have been any sacrifices. I, on the other hand, knew the curse did happen again this year, and there were two people that died. This may sound strange, but I hadn't exactly thought the elder would be the one to go missing. My reason was clear. Shion and I have been a higher priority than him. The four of us were thieves that broke the taboo and set foot into the sacred ritual storehouse. If Tomitake-san and Takano-san had suffered mysterious deaths, then it should have been my and Shion's turns next.
今度こそ俺かシオンの番なのにな。
I laughed painfully to myself. I'd yelled at Shion over the phone that I didn't want to end up in such a terrifying situation, but now that someone other than me had disappeared, I could only think that I should have been the first to go. Onigafuchi, the bottomless swamp, said to have been the place where they drowned sacrifice long ago. Just as it ran through my thoughts, the villagers must have also considered the swamp. Maybe police divers were plumbing its depths even now. They probably wouldn't find anyone. Not a single missing person had ever been found. They'd always suspected Onigafuchi, but not once have they ever turned up a corpse from it. After all, it was a devilish bottomless swamp from which no one who sinks can ever return. I could hear someone telling their friend that in the classroom.
そういえば、サトシさんがいなくなったのも去年の今頃だったね。
So here comes Satoshi again. His name, I mean. Huh? Satoshi? I've heard the name before. He was right. He disappeared because of last year's curse. The conversation was happening in the seat next to me, so I could hear it clearly.
サトシさんの時も確かこんな風に村中で探したんじゃなかったっけ？
あれも見つからなかったんだよね。あれって結局どうなったんだっけ？確か鬼隠しじゃなかったんだよね。
うん。貯金を全部下ろして家出しちゃったんだって聞いたよ。警察の人が名古屋駅で新幹線に乗るところを見た人がいるとか言ってたもん。
Ran away. I wasn't that interested in the reason, which seemed understandable in this case. Everyone else who disappeared had their own reasons too. Either way, they were still on the run because they were criminals or they were a corpse that couldn't be found. It's not like any of them suddenly disappeared in the thin air for no reason. But they disappeared. Someone disappeared whenever the curse took a life, as if by design. They may have had various understandable reasons, but they still disappeared. From that point of view, it really might have been a demoning away this time. The mayor's disappearance was the first such incident without a clear reason behind it. Of course, coming to that realization didn't help to resolve anything.
今日は味の加減を間違えちゃったみたいだね。
Seasoning?
ごめん。
Normally, Rena's lunch would have been devoured immediately, but today there was still a ton left. That wasn't because Rena's lunch didn't taste good or anything, though.
そんなことありませんのよ。レナさんのお弁当は今日もとっても美味でしたよ。
Why is everyone just on edge today? Satoko dips her chopsticks into Rena's bento and pulls bits of the food out of one after the other.
美味しい美味しい。今日も格別でしたよ。あれ、それかぼちゃのコロッケだよ。
Pumpkin croquettes.
大丈夫？レナさんのかぼちゃならとっても美味しいですわ。
Did Satoko dislike pumpkin? Regardless, she forced herself to smile and shove more into her mouth. Everyone knew. Nobody's lunch tasted very good today. Satoko kept shoveling it down, repeating her remark on how good it was.
そんなにうまいなら俺もいただかないとな。このままじゃ全部サトコに食われちまう。
あんまりにも美 美味しいので、ぜひ圭一さんにも召し上がってほしいですわね。
たまには俺も年上らしい寛大さを見せないとな。よし、遠慮するな。今日は俺の分まで食ってよし。
うわー。
She really hated pumpkin, didn't she? That made it all the more touching to see Satoko's own brand of generosity. I grabbed her head and started stroking it. Satoko, in a somewhat exaggerated fashion, was bawling, tears streaming down her face.
嘘だよ。そんなにうまいものを譲るほど大人にはなれないよ。レナも食え。俺のは夕べのおでんの残り物だが、おでんは一晩経ってからがうまいんだぜ。
お大根が綺麗な色に透き通ってて美味しそう。じゃあ、いただこうかな。
Rena reached out with her chopsticks, and at last, the usual lunchtime atmosphere began to return. That was only at our desk, however. The dark tales of Oyashiro-sama's curse, which had recorded for 5 years in a row, didn't cease. The whole classroom remained stuck in this somber mood. Oyashiro-sama's curse had happened for 5 years straight. Everyone had wanted the previous year to be the last. What was Oyashiro-sama's curse anyway? They were going to build a dam in Inamizawa. The people building it were bad, so they were cursed. I would admit that much. Still, the dam project was frozen years ago, wasn't it? So why was the curse stubbornly persisting? I hit myself in the cheeks to perk myself back up. Everyone was trying so hard to brighten the mood, I couldn't go straight back to thinking about the curse like that. I forced a grim story out of my head. Driving Oyashiro-sama's curse out of my thoughts was actually a good idea. In the end, that meant I would also be driving away the most terrifying thought of all, that I could be the curse's next target.
しかし、ミオンは遅いな。あいつのお手洗いってこんなに長いのか？
Mion had said she was going to wash her hands and left, and she hadn't come back yet.
多分、どっかでお昼寝してるんだと思う。昨べはきっと遅くまで村長さんを探すお手伝いをしてたんだと思うから。
I smiled really and let out a sigh. Today was no good. However much we tried to lighten the mood, things always came back to the mayor. It was just a no good today. I had just transferred here recently, so the shock of a curse happening 5 years running was an imaginably big one. Maybe I do need to appreciate that.
村長さんはね、ちっちゃかった頃、みーちゃんのことをすごく可愛がってくれたんだって。いたずら盛りのみーちゃんをすごく可愛がってくれたって、よく話してたな。
I see. Mion was in shock too. Someone disappearing at all because of a curse was a very scary thing. If the sacrifice was someone you knew though, then the shock must be 100 times worse. Satoko, as she come to the same conclusion, bit her lower lip and looked downward.
そういえば、リカちゃんも遅いな。ひょっとして、リカちゃんも仲良くお昼寝か？
リカはそんなに遅くまではお付き合いしませんでしたわ。
Why are you guys very close now?
リカがあくびをしたら、皆さんみんなして、おやすみなさいませ、おやすみなさいませって。
Now that you mention it, there were a lot of old people rubbing their prayer beads in fervent gratitude towards Rika-chan during the festival too. An image of the indulgent elderly came to mind. Had Rika-chan discovered a way to get herself be pampered like that?
リカちゃんって、何気に年寄りのアイドルだな。理想の孫娘像ってやつなのか？
そんなの知らない。でも、リカちゃんのあくびなら見てみたい。
She's gonna say, so cute.
きっとね、ぽわーって。お持ち帰り。そんなに可愛いとも思いませんけど。ふわーって、喉の奥まで覗けるくらいの大あくびでしたよ。
Rena's handy at times like this. I finally managed a heartfelt laugh. Alright, I'm on day duty today, aren't I? I need to go water the flower garden. The garden is right outside the teacher's lounge too, so they can immediately tell if you don't do it right.
リカちゃんのだけじゃなくさとこちゃんのも可愛いと思うわ。おー、あくびき窒息。はうちらっと見えた。可愛いの見えた。さとこちゃんのあくびも可愛い。お持ち帰り。
Rena was strangling Satoko. I don't think that counts as yawning. You know, Rena is, I can't say it out loud, but she's a notorious, censored. What is a word though? Isn't she? Notorious what? Hearing Satoko make a weird noise like a chicken being strangled was kind of hilarious, and I couldn't help but laugh. At some point, the classroom had erupted into laughter too. Maybe Rena was doing it on purpose. Even if she wasn't, this nonsense was a welcome sight. Anyway, let's get over to the flowers while I still have time. Slowly and quietly, lest I destroy the room's newfound peace, I left the classroom. The watering can was hanging up outside the kitchen. The building had originally been an all-male forestry service building, so there was apparently nothing so thoughtful as a garden here before. When they decided to have a school share the space, they built one there as a modest gesture of appreciation. But well, the flower bed, it was a little longer than you expect. It went all around. It went all over the place. It was so big, one would need to refill the watering can 5 or 6 times to get it all done. I was doing this together with a kid who was also thankfully on day duty today. She was in the lowest grade though, and a full size smaller than even Rika-chan. I couldn't make a kid who would struggle just to lift the full watering can help me with this. If you were placed on day duty with someone who liked this sort of thing, they'd do it all for you, so it'd be a cake.
悪態をついても仕方ないな。諦めて仕事を始めるか。
Watering can in hand, just as I was about to leave the building, the old man from the forestry office addressed me.
兄ちゃん、倉庫裏に菜園があるだろ。だいぶくたびれかけたぞ。あそこにも水をやってあげな。
あのカレー菜園ですか？
Curry vegetable garden?
じゃがいもとか人参とかカレーの具しか栽培してないっていう。
Ah, curry vegetable garden because the ingredients are only... Or yeah, for curry. It's definitely the personal garden of our curry-loving teacher, but making the curry tired. Making students responsible for its upkeep is getting them involved in her personal affairs. I couldn't say that to his face though, so I gave up and decided to carry out my day duties. The sunlight out front was strong. The great chorus of cicadas was strongly underlining how nothing was different today than yesterday. I passed by the classroom and I don't know how it happened, but Rena and Satoko were in the middle of a huge melee. While I was gone, the kids had arranged all the desks in a circle, forming a ring while everyone was cheering them on. Yeah, that's how it should be. When school ended, we would need to return to reality where talks of the elders' disappearance would once again be all over the place. I wanted everyone to forget about everything and have fun, just like yesterday, if only while they are at school. In that sense, Satoko's rolling elbow and Rena's backward flying spin kick made for a pleasant sight, even if as a result they flipped over my desk. That's my pencil box. I'll just let it happen today. I set to work hastily watering everything, wanting nothing more than to be done as soon as possible. That should about do it. No sooner had I thought that than I remembered that I had to water the teacher's curry vegetable garden too.
めんどくさいが、やらないと後でいろいろと不利益なことがありそうな気がする。
I gave up, filled the can with water again, and headed behind the warehouse. Yeah, you don't want the curse of the curry tyrant, Keiichi. This was a place students didn't like to go. It was always damp here, and you couldn't discard the possibility of slugs and pill bugs being around. Oh, she's here, I mean, Rika-chan. So when I ran across her in a place like this, I was surprised.
リカちゃんか。驚かせるなよ。
Rika-chan was just there standing like a puppet devoid of life. I was the only one who was startled here. Rika-chan didn't even seem to react to my appearance.
リカちゃん
Finally, she noticed me. Her expression was clearly abnormal. There was a red under her eyes, stained with tears and dirt. There were blades of grass stuck in her hair too, and her clothes looked as though she'd fallen to the ground.
リカちゃんひょっとして怪我したのか転んだとか
違うのですよ。違うのです。
Rika-chan said in the brightest voice she could manage as she rubbed her eyes. So something happened to her, but what? She didn't look anywhere near normal though. She just doesn't want to say what happened to her, right?
何があったんだまさか倉庫の屋根の上で昼寝とかしてて落ちたとか
僕のことはいいのです。それよりも、圭一に聞きたいことがあるのです。
Rika-chan walked over and clung to me. At first, I thought she was playing a trick on me. Eventually, however, I realized it was so that I wouldn't run from the... Oh my... Dude, I got scared by the music though. I wouldn't run from the questions she was about to ask. I shuddered.
俺になんだよ
She looked straight into my eyes. Her upturned eyes bored right into me. It was as though they were trying to pull the answer out of my own eyes without actually asking me the question. It was scary, so I averted my eyes from hers.
圭一、お祭りの晩に何か悪いことをしましたか？
I think this is the first time we see Rika like this, right? Even in the other chapter? Yeah. Like she was always jolly, right? My body gave a jolt from its very core. Rika-chan, who was clinging to me, might have felt my shiver. A nervous tingle crawled up my feet, and after going up my back and freezing my entire body, it made its way into my brain.
圭一、本当に覚えはありませんか？
My head began to throb. I don't understand anything. Mion asked me. Oishi-san asked me. Shion asked me. And then now Rika-chan. Now Rika-chan was asking me. We thought nobody knew about what we did last night, but in fact everyone knew. They all knew and they came to ask me. Again and again until I admitted it. When I thought about it, it was pretty clear the whole thing was out in the open. After all, don't Tomitaki-san and Takano-san's deaths prove it?
圭一、
How should I respond? We never should have entered the forbidden storehouse. And even though I regretted it so much, was she saying it wasn't enough? However, I had all but decided what I was going to say.
俺もそこが悪いからな悪いことの覚えが多すぎて見当がつかないよ
Just as I had with all the others, I evaded a question. Rika-chan stared up at me with innocent eyes. Her eyes were so painful that I had to look away. After a few moments of mutual silence, Rika-chan released me.
変なことを聞いてごめんなさいなのです。忘れてくださいなのですよ。
She said, smiling her usual smile. And then tap tap tap, she went running off as if nothing had happened. As she retreated in silence, I could feel her accusing me.
リカちゃん
If she didn't hear my voice, then I was going to give up. However, she heard it. Rika-chan swiveled around and waited for me to continue. I was the one who had questioned now. Still, asking any of them could just be a half-assed way of admitting what I did.
なあ、リカちゃん。
はいなのです。
If everyone knows anyways, then I should be able to at least ask this, right? Why is everyone asking me about the night of the festival? That evening? Had I done something that wrong? I felt plenty sorry about it and I only looked away. Or looked anyway. I didn't break anything or steal anything. Really. Still, Tomitaki-san and Takano-san, they died so miserably. Since Ch.2 had come to such an end, there's obviously no way it would only forgive me. Rika-chan cutely tilted her head in confusion and waited for me to say something. If I were to admit what happened that night though, she might suddenly do a 180 as if flipping a switch. That would make sense. Rika-chan was a shrine maiden. She was the least likely to forgive me for breaking the taboo, wasn't she? Upon reflection, wouldn't telling her be more terrifying than telling Mion or Uishi-san? Rika-chan could just give up and leave, couldn't she? She didn't. She only was quietly waiting for me to say to her myself. Say it, Keiichi Maibara. If you really are sorry, then you should say so. Of course, it's not normal to hesitate given the crazy way Tomitake-san and Takano-san died. A pulping machine called chaos was grinding up my brain. The juice wrung out of it turned into big droplets of sweat which began to fall.
圭一、
Rika-chan suddenly straightened up, trying to pat me on the head.
圭一が何を悩んでいるのか、僕にはよくわからないのです。
I had nothing to say to that. I lowered my head a little so that Rika-chan's palm could reach it. She petted me, kind of like one with a cat.
境内の裏を少し行ったところに大きな倉庫があるのをご存知ですか？西宮殿と言いますです。
My breath literally stopped. Rika-chan, though, wasn't acting in a coercive way at all.
お祭りの晩、その西宮殿に猫さんが入り込んだのだそうです。
猫？
はい、猫さんです。
A cat?
にゃーにゃーなのです。
Rika-chan knew. She realized I was in fear. I could tell she was desperately trying to choose the right word so that she wouldn't scare me.
猫さんは前から西宮殿の中を探検してみたいと思っていました。でも僕が意地悪をして中を見せてあげなかったのです。なので祭りの夜、猫さんは我慢できなくなって中に入ってみましたのです。
That cat. It was clearly supposed to be Takano-san. Or wait, was it supposed to be me?
実は中には猫さんが怖がるものがたくさんあったのです。
Rika-chan made a cute gesture like a ghost was coming out to frighten me.
猫さんはびっくり仰天。一目散に逃げ出してガタガタブルブルニャーニャーで大変なのです。
その猫が誰だって言うんだ？
猫さんは猫さんです。にゃーにゃー。
Rika-chan still avoided saying it. The cat, though, was without a doubt me.
リカちゃん、頼む、教えてくれ。
Wait, what? Okay.
その猫さんはこれからどうしたらいい？
Maybe it was a desperate question to ask. I had sort of admitted to being the cat.
猫さんは猫さんですから、にゃーにゃー泣いてるだけで大丈夫ですよ。
Okay.
大丈夫って、そんないい加減な。
にゃーにゃー泣いてるだけではダメなのですか？
Jeez, Rika-chan and I have put together an entire conversation using cat as a code word. I didn't say it directly, but I had already admitted it. I didn't want to end up like those two. I didn't want to be a sacrifice like Shion said. That's what I thought, so I stubbornly remained silent. But now that's enough.
泣いてるだけじゃダメなんだ。猫さんがいたずら心で忍び込んだのを犬さんが見てたんだよ。
犬さん。
そうだ、犬さんなんだ。猫さんのところへ代わる代わるやってきて、忍び込んだだろうって問いただしてくるんだ。
After I said that, Rika-chan's expression clouded over. She was trying to hide it, but I'd already noticed her eyes darkening.
リカちゃん、
The silence was frightening, so I spurred her on. At that point, Rika-chan grinned.
大丈夫ですよ。猫さんは僕が守ってあげます。
Huh? I thought for a moment that I had misheard those words, so dependable they were.
猫さんはとても怖がっていますが、本当はそんなに大変なことではないのです。何匹かの犬さんがきっと勘違いしてるだけなのだと思います。
そんなに大変なことじゃないって。
猫さんの心配しすぎなのです。僕がきっと何とかしてあげますですよ。
Rika-chan will do something about it. I don't even know left from right at the moment, so Rika-chan didn't look all that dependable.
ちょっと大変ですけど、頑張りますですよ。ファイト、オーなのです。
She clenched her fist and stuck it in the air. Rika-chan said that the cat can just keep meowing. She said to leave it all to her. Is that really all it took to resolve this whole thing?
本当にリカちゃんで大丈夫なのか？
僕が頑張らないと、犬さんも大変なことになってしまうかもしれないのです。
I had no idea what Rika-chan was talking about anymore. She had been talking to me under the assumption that I was aware of certain things. So at first I understood her. Around the middle though, I stopped understanding anything. However, one thing I did know was to not worry and leave it to her. Rika-chan straightened up once again, patted me on the head and smiled. I was so moved by that reassuring feeling that I couldn't help but start to cry.
ごめん。猫さんも本当にちょっとしたいたずらのつもりだったんだ。こんなことになるなんて全然。
猫さんは臆病すぎです。だから見せたくなかったのです。
She was right. It was far too shocking for someone to see based on a little bit of interest alone. That's why they made it so difficult to look at in the first place, wasn't it?
リカちゃん、その猫さんはどうなるんだろう。忍び込んだ2匹の猫さんがあの晩に。
I heard Tomitake-san and Takano-san's deaths were being kept secret. Rika-chan might not have known about it.
富武と高野ですか？
Dude, what the hell? I gave a start at the sudden mention of the actual names. Though it's weird to do that at this point.
忘れると良いのです。
My spine froze again.
忘れる？
はい。あの二人のことを思い出すことは、圭一にとって良くないことなのです。考えれば考えるほど怖くなるだけです。
The more you think about it, the scarier it will get. So I think what she's saying is, like, remember in the first chapter, the more Keiichi became paranoid, the more scarier the things happening got, right? So I think maybe something like that. She's warning Keiichi not to worry about them.
だから早く忘れた方がいいのです。
See, so you should forget about them as soon as possible. She said something so enormously terrifying without letting the smile on her face waver at all.
どこで聞いたかわかりませんが、きれいさっぱりお風呂でゴシゴシするみたいに忘れちゃうと良いのですよ。
Make your mind as clean as a scrubbed bathtub.
忘れるって言ったって、リカちゃんは知ってるんだろう。あの二人がどういう死に方を。
どんな死に方をしても、それは圭一とは関係のないことなのです。
Rika declared this in a flat voice. Nothing to do with me, so forget about it. The girl before me, she was innocent and lovable and even seemed trustworthy, but suddenly she took on another dimension. Don't get involved with her deaths. I'll help you, Keiichi. Those two contradictory statements twisted and distorted my image of the girl in front of me.
シオンはあいつはどうなるんだ。
It might have been dangerous to mention Shion's name, but I couldn't stop myself from asking. Rika-chan saw through everything anyway. There was no way I was going to fool her or keep anything from her at this point.
姉妹猫の妹ですか？にゃーにゃー。
そうだ。妹猫だ。
Rika-chan appeared to think upon this for a moment. It was hard for me to endure even this momentary silence.
姉猫は怒ってます。
The big sister cat is angry.
妹猫が悪いことをしたので、とても怒ってます。
Ooh.
姉猫って。
That could only mean Mion. I recall being questioned by her yesterday.
圭一、姉猫はとても機嫌が悪いです。しばらくの間、そっとしてあげてほしいなのです。
I need to remember this conversation, okay? Not in a good mood, those words sent a shiver through me. Mion was mad. She was mad that we entered the ritual storehouse.
今日から部活はなしにしましょう。
なんでだよ。
そっとしてあげてほしいからなのです。
Like, look at this. Rika's literally warning Keiichi. Rika-chan entered the sentence with such force that I couldn't say anything in response. Hey, Keiichi Maibara. Don't disobey Rika-chan right now. She's the only one who said she'll help me right now. I'll leave things to her just as she said to. I mean, she even said that the cat should just keep meowing. I'll forget everything like she said. I'll leave everything to her. I'll forget everything about Takano-san to Witake-san and what I did that night. The bell. Just then, we heard a bell far away, marking the end of our lunch break.
じゃあ校舎に戻ろうか。
圭一、
As she had noticed how miserable I was, about to leave everything to her and flee the scene, Rika-chan called out to stop me.
勘違いの犬さんが猫さんに噛みつこうとしたら知らせてくださいね。
If the misunderstanding dog comes to try and bite the cat, please tell me. The misunderstanding dog. She put it in such a cute sounding way, but the true meaning behind those words was an eerie one.
勘違いの犬さんってなんだ。
村長を噛んだ犬さんです。
The dog that bit the mayor.
どうして村長を噛んだのか、僕にはわかりません。噛むなら、いたずら猫さんを先に噛むはずなのにです。
There are a lot of words here, man. Misunderstanding dog, trickster cat. The flow of blood in my body felt like it completely stopped for a moment. Rika-chan had admitted it. The sacrifices of that terrible calamity, she admitted that if they were to happen again, it should be Shion or I. This I didn't know or was true about the girl standing before me. My suspicion gave way to fear and nearly began to change into anger. Was she a savior who would protect me? or a stranger trying to capture and kill me for the sake of a horrible tradition. I had no idea what was true.
ごめんなさいなのです。猫さんが怖がっているのに、また怖がるようなことを言ってしまいました。
Okay, let me see again this. Okay.
ごめんなさいなのです。
Rika-chan bowed so quickly it looked like her head had been pulled downward. Still, she was right. I was cowering. I could distinctly feel my body shaking violently. So when Rika-chan reached her hand out to pat me on the head, I pulled away without thinking.
ごめん。
Rika-chan made a very sad face, but I just couldn't bring myself to put out my head for her again. That day, Rika-chan said she wasn't feeling up for club activity, so she suggested we don't bother. There's always vetoes when someone doesn't feel up to it. Rena and the others seemed really disappointed. The big sister cat is not in a good mood. I remembered Rika-chan's words and quietly stole a glance at Mion's expression. I could forget the way she questioned me yesterday, though. Her behavior was the same as it always was. There were a lot of words there with Rika's conversation. A lot, man. Kinda hard to understand right now, but there was a lot. Okay, let's see. What happens next first? Okay. After that, I need a break for now. I need a break, man. But yes, that conversation with Rika was a lot. They didn't mention names or anything, right? But Rika mentioned, not mentioned, but named, not named, what do you call this? Called the Sonozaki sisters the two cats, right? The big cat and the little cat, the younger cat, I suppose. And she said the trickster cat as well, right? One of them, man, the trickster cat. So one of them is one of them is baiting, honestly. And I think it's Shion because she was the one who was showing signs of being, what do you call this? Delusion, right? Hearing something. I think that was the first time, right? So we need to look closely at Shion now. I think she is the trickster cat, right? It's hard to explain right now because we're not far into the story, I suppose, yet, but we need to look whenever we're with Shion, we need to look at her, at what she's saying, whatever, everything about her, right? Damn, this trickster cat. Who is it? No, I mean, my guess it's Shion, but the misunderstand dog, though. Who was it? Is it Keiichi? That one I didn't understand, honestly. But yeah, she did say that the wasn't misunderstand, but yeah, the misunderstand dog bit the mayor, right? So who is the dog? A lot of stuff. I need to remember all of those, honestly. I need to write this down. Those words Rika-chan and Keiichi were talking about earlier. There were a lot of them. Like, a lot of words has been said without mentioning anyone, basically, right? And someone did something to her, I suppose, right? Then when Keiichi found her, she was like, I guess some kind of not messed up, but like, I'll say dirty, something like that. So someone did something to her, and she knows all the stuff as well, right? She knows that Keiichi went in the storehouse, etc., like that. Tomitake Takano, and she was saying that don't think of Takano and Tomitake. Clear your mind, right? She's basically saying. So I think this affliction that they're getting in this town, I suppose, when you become paranoid, like it's like times 100, I suppose, right? So that's why she kept saying, Do not think of them. Clear your mind. For Keiichi not to be like the Keiichi in the first chapter, right? Because for Keiichi in the first chapter, he'd become like, yeah, he was very, very worse there, right? So in this one, I guess Rika-chan was like telling him to not think about those stuff and calm down, something like that, right? So hopefully this time Keiichi doesn't go mental, right? Like in the first chapter. But we'll see. We'll see. No, I love these chapters now. This one, chapters last time. I'm not saying I don't like the slice of life chapters. I enjoyed those as well. I mean, but what I'm saying is the chapters, the series chapters, is really good. Like it hooks you really in, honestly. Like sometimes I'm just thinking when they were talking, like the conversations there. I stopped for a moment. And I'm like, what the hell did she say again? Oh, like I need to double take that. I need to check it again. This series, man, I'm glad that I started this series. It is so fun, and we're still in chapter 2, right? We have quite a lot still, and I'm really, really enjoying it already. A lot. So yes, we're gonna continue this and do more of Higurashi When They Cry, chapter 2, Watanagashi, in the next one. So I'll just see you then, guys. Bye bye.